The Fort McHenry National Historic Site and National Shrine is an excellent day trip from Washington or Baltimore. Here you can see the Star-Spangled Banner where it was raised during the War of 1812 and inspired the writing of the Star-Spangled Banner. Let's take a look at the Visitor Center. There's well-equipped bathrooms and gift shop, and it is staffed by rangers. We'll stop here to take a look at the sign. Individual tickets for adults are $15. Children and military members are free. There are also a number of passes you can get, both for seniors and for any person. The most popular is the America the Beautiful Pass, which costs $80 and gets you into any national park. Now we'll take a look around the museum. There are several exhibits and some gathering rooms that are available for rent. We'll head into the theater to capture the 10-minute long introduction to the facility and all the history that's happened here. If you want to save time by watching this introductory video now, just hang on till the end of this video where we'll play it in its entirety. The museum was good enough for kids and had a good introductory video that gave the history of the battle that happened nearby. There's a few interesting pieces, including the original document that the Star-Spangled Banner was written on. The historic site has a really excellent outdoor area. It's used not only for interpreting the historic events, but also as a recreation facility for the local area. We'll take you on a rapid walk around the edge and point out a few interesting sites along the way. To the left is the Army Corps of Engineers Baltimore headquarters. Continuing on, we come up to the water taxi station for the Fort McHenry site. Across the water you can see Canton and Brewers Hill neighborhoods of Baltimore. And across the way, the gray painted ships are the U.S. National Defense Reserve Fleet vessels. There were 4 of them in port today. You can use an app called Marine Tracker to see which ships are nearby. The Francis Scott Key Bridge could be seen in the distance. This bridge had fallen down exactly 1 year before a visit. It was an eerie sight to see, such a large structure with a huge gap in between. Now it's time to enter the fort itself. The fort is an earthenwork fort with several brick buildings in support of the fort's mission. Now it's time to head inside the fort structure. The fort is an earthwork structure with some brick buildings and brick auxiliary structures underneath the ground. You'll notice the flag in all these shots has 15 stars. That's the actual correct flag from the War of 1812. It's one of the few places in America authorized to fly a non-standard flag. Now we've moved past the earthworks and into the brickwork structure of the building. Obviously, some of this dates back to 1812 or before, but there was a concerted effort to reconstruct the facility in the 1830s to restore it to functional military use. The fort remained an active military facility all the way through the World War I. You'll see small outbuildings and cellars like these that were used to hold ammunition and supplies. A lot of them are worth a quick look. Now entering the main area of the fortress, we come across brick and wooden buildings where the daily life of soldiers took place. The only building of any military significance here is the barn-shaped one, which was the magazine. Most of the buildings you see here have a small exhibit inside, mostly about the daily life of people living and working in the fort. We got really lucky because high winds necessitated the Rangers bringing down the 15-star flag and replacing it with a much smaller, modern American flag. It was neat to see how the Rangers incorporated the kids that were nearby. Let's watch. Thank you for watching. If you got value from this video, please consider a like and a subscribe to support the channel. The remainder of this YouTube video will be a showing in its entirety of the introductory video inside the Visitor Center at Fort McHenry.
The land of the free and the home of the brave. Powerful words from our national anthem. They speak to our American identity and are woven into our national flag. Timeless words written by one man, Francis Scott Key, about one flag at one moment, September 14th, 1814, here at Fort McHenry. In 1812, the storm clouds of war had gathered over a young United States as the nation pitted itself once more against the might of the British Empire. For 2 years, the conflict wore on, from the British colonies of Canada to America's southern coast and out across the high seas. To draw off U.S. forces from Canada and damage America's economy and morale, the British Navy attacked and blockaded the nation's east coast heartland. Up and down the Chesapeake Bay they raided, destroying towns and farms and spreading fear. Then, in August 1814, disaster. The invading British seized Washington, D.C. and burned the nation's capital. A citizen soldier of Baltimore spoke for many.
Every American heart is bursting with shame and indignation at the catastrophe.
And Baltimore hearts were also full of anxiety, for they feared they would be next.
Citizens of Baltimore, take heed! The British fleet approaches! Admiral Coburn has declared that you will slaughter this nest of pirates. If you can, flee the city, take your valuables.
As Baltimore braced itself, a young Maryland lawyer, Francis Scott Key, embarked on a diplomatic mission to free a prisoner of war, sailing right into the heart of the approaching British fleet. But with their attack on Baltimore imminent, the British detained Key amidst their massing warships. On the outskirts of Baltimore, citizens, men and women, militia and regular troops desperately prepared defenses. They dug almost a mile of earthen trenching and waited with bated breath. On September 12th, British soldiers landed at North Point, where a bloody battle with Maryland militia failed to halt their march towards Baltimore. However, the British could not tackle the city's earthwork defenses and troop reinforcements without their navy's help. The next day, the British bomb ships would open up their main assault with the ferocious bombardment. Their target, Fort McHenry. They had to knock out the fort to bring their ships in range of the city. The fate of Baltimore now lay in the hands of the fort's defenders. Soldiers frantically prepared for battle, knowing they were the last defense to thwart the British. With the enemy in their sights, the men awaited the inevitable, a bombardment from the world's most formidable navy. Then the attack began as the British fleet pounded the fort with rockets and mortar shells. Turned into rain-soaked night. But still, the British bombs and rockets thundered over the fort, exploding deadly shrapnel in all directions. The fort's defenders were, in the words of one citizen soldier, like pigeons tied by the legs to a shaft. The American artillery answered the British with desperate return fire. But would it be enough? Baltimore's citizens watched in panic through the night. One recalled,
"The attack on Fort McHenry was distinctly seen from Fenton Hill, and from the tops of houses which were covered with men, women, and children."
September 14th, the British guns finally fell silent. A huge flag was raised above the fort, but whose? Through the long night, Francis Scott Key had been forced to watch the bombardment from among the enemy fleet.
Not at all. Nothing.
Now, he strained to see the flag in the dawn's early light.
It's ours, Mr. Skinner. Say, we won. It's ours.
Inspired by their courage, Key wrote down a few lines. "'Tis the Star-Spangled Banner, oh long may it wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave." As the British withdrew, Key returned to Baltimore, where his words soon found music and a publisher, and the Star-Spangled Banner was born. It captured a defiant, patriotic spirit and spread rapidly across the nation, pouring new life into the national flag as a symbol of American identity. The popularity of the song and the flag grew during the years that followed. The Star-Spangled Banner eventually became the official anthem of the United States in 1931. Inspired by the brave defense of Fort McHenry, Francis Scott Key's words and the flag they so memorably portray are now woven into our sense of national identity. These words still resonate as loudly today as the glaring rockets and bursting bombs of 1814.